Welcome back to another episode of Man Reacts. Today, we're going to see why men are ditching dating and the real reasons behind this trend. Watch till the end of this video to find out the surprising and rather controversial truth. Social media is dehumanizing for men. If you've ever used a dating app, you know how dehumanizing it can be for a regular guy. You immediately come to the realization that the majority of women don't give you much thought. You and most guys are considered inferior by the great majority of women. In this day and age, where there are many locations that still have limitations set during the pandemic, where do you meet women outside of dating apps? More and more women are now averse to socializing as they used to before the pandemic. Men are supposed to take the initiative in everything, and then navigating the minefield of being expected to make all the first moves while not being awkward, while being unrealistically outgoing and confident, trying not to weird a woman out for characteristics that render you unique despite those qualities being fairly common and normal, trying to balance being respectful of consent with being expected to be assertive and confident, most young men not making the kind of money women fantasize about, struggling with your own lack of confidence while walking on eggshells to not lose someone's fleeting interest who is actively looking for any possible red flag to give an excuse to ghost you. The list is endless. Men don't have a lot of options while women have endless. I don't want to come out as blaming or disliking women. I don't mean to do that. Nonetheless, I believe there is a propensity to downplay how unfair modern dating is for young guys. Although society has advanced significantly, there are still expectations that are unfair, misogynistic, and only applied to men. Some feminists would be tempted to blame the patriarchy, but I believe that both men and women share some of the guilt for the current dynamic. If women took equal responsibility in pursuing, it wouldn't be so lopsided, but as it stands, most women have the opposite problem of having too many options rather than being the person needing to seek out options. Society has unfair expectations of men. There has been a lot of work done to criticize the unfair standards that are given to women, but less to men. We may give progressive circles lip service, but when it counts, I witness individuals justifying misogynistic norms for men. Although professing in the abstract that we are dedicated to this hypothetical egalitarian future, we are actually actively maintaining the same chauvinistic norms for males. It seems that there are still these prevailing and largely uncontested idealized standards for what an attractive man is, and that man does not have emotion, does not have faults, does not make mistakes, is financially balling, is tall, dark, handsome, and in peak physical shape, has a degree but also works with his hands, is socially dominating, not simply confident as some say. Do we end up marrying these men? No. Most women will settle for something a bit more down to earth. Popular culture promotes an unrealistic standard of the ideal man, but this is still a dominating stereotype living in the most popular music videos, TV shows, books, movies, and fanfics. It sets the standard to have a reply in online dating, etc. The point is we all sort of know abstractly that guys are not this ideal. We understand our fathers weren't, nor are our brothers. We understand our sons aren't like that. Eventually, we date men who aren't like that. But the question you ask is, why have young men given up on dating? And to me, it seems it's largely because it's incredibly dehumanizing to be compared to a standard you can't reasonably be expected to live up to in order to just get your foot in the door and maybe show someone that even though you're not 6'3", making six figures a year with washboard abs, a degree in business, who swings an axe on his days off, enjoys an active but social media safe social life without personal struggles, no character defects. Even though you're not that guy, you might be a worthy human being. Men are more vulnerable at the hands of women. I believe that many young guys initially put themselves in vulnerable situations more than once and get too dehumanized by the pressure to prove their worth when the message seems to be that they aren't. You can only abuse yourself in that way so many times before you realize it's eroding your self-worth. It would probably be simple to simply remark, well, the problem is with you, dude. You must just be a nasty guy in this situation. Yet when the vast majority of young males are assessed as such, we have a serious issue, and I have a hard time believing it myself. I knew a few guys. I know some older and some younger. The younger crop of young men is on average much more respectful of equality and sensitive to boundaries and fairness. I don't buy this notion that most young men are predators or have some fundamental social or psychological flaw that renders them unworthy of dating material. Men are largely stereotyped in society and culture. I get the impression that a significant portion of the problem is not just that young men are flawed, but also that the majority of young men are stereotyped fast in relation to the ideal, and whenever there is a shortcoming, flaw, or warning sign, that's it. He isn't even worth the time, given what we already know about him. Let's face it, before a young man reaches that stage, there are already discriminatory assumptions about him, including that he may be a predator or an emotional abuser unless proven innocent, or that he's awkward, too soft, too clinging, didn't see the indications, is a loser, etc. So many young men constantly only trying to meet someone no right off that bat. There's a mountain they've got to overcome of prejudgments just to get a chance. Then, in the ensuing interactions, walk on thin ice that a joke might not be taken wrong or a bad day might reflect insecurity, because the other person is looking for a reason for you to prove you're just like those other guys. Men are tired of the current dating dynamic. Consider yourself in their position for a moment. Consider your feelings in the circumstance. It is your responsibility to disprove the other person's prejudgments and shows that you are innocent. They want you to perform poorly on the test. Also, you need to establish your suitability for this person's attention. You seem to have failed repeatedly, and you don't even understand why. Did you say something? Was it pictures you posted on social media? Was there something you left unsaid? Did you work there? Were you being too frank? You weren't bold enough, were you? And keep in mind, you're expected to do the initiating. That has not changed. Hence, no one will approach you and make a move or show interest. Nobody is going to make you feel better about yourself. There is no female "you're gorgeous, I adore you" culture among men. There is no group of people that say, "You look incredibly handsome today." Rejection is going to be the only outcome. Please keep that in mind. Imagine repeatedly failing an exam to determine your eligibility without knowing what may be done to improve. You eventually come to the conclusion that you are simply not attractive. When it hurts to be reminded that no one finds you attractive enough to even consider you for a lunch date, you stop engaging in that element of your life. Why would you want a reminder? Exactly. So, these are just some of the main surprising and controversial reasons why men have ended up ditching dating as a whole. I say controversial because I can guarantee you if you start this topic in a group of people, they will end up fighting each other over different opinions. It's a lost concept for them because they have nothing more to gain from it. They're tired of being thrown around and discarded by women who have the leverage of doing that. This is the main reason we have men's movements such as Men Going Their Own Way, and they seem to be growing in popularity at an exceptional pace. Thanks for watching. Why do you think men are ditching dating? Should they still date and suffer at the hands of women? Let's discuss this in the comments. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel for more thought-provoking content from Man Reacts.